Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Mage the Ascension campaign. I am your storyteller and arbiter of both truth and lies, apparently, and I am really happy to be bringing you this wonderful story. And other than that, I don't think I have any announcements for you, so I'll go ahead and let these wonderful people tell you what they're up to and who they are. We'll start with Quinn.
Oh, me? This guy? The most humblest, sweetest mage of the group, I'm sure. Well, hey, folks. Thanks for joining us. My name's Quinn. You can find me on the Twitters or the X, however the kids are calling it these days, at the Mercenary Storyteller. And I am still unsure of where we're going to go from here. It sounded at the end of last game that we all had a similar thought. We'll see if that plays out.
You shall indeed. Sir Monolith, you're up next.
I'm at Sir Monolith on Twitter right now, and I actually think I created an account on that other website. What was that thing? The Blue Sky one. So
Blue
at Sir
Sky?
Monolith on Blue Sky as well. But it's just at Sir Monolith, one long word on Blue Sky, rather than like I think on Twitter is it underscore? I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just keep an eye out here on Ree's channel because that's where I'm doing most of my things. Looking forward to seeing if anything interesting happens either tonight or I guess is this the last episode for the season or
We will
It
see.
could very well be. We'll see. All
gotta
right,
spice things up, buddies.
All right, next up, Kira.
Hi, I'm Kira858. I normally say my announcements towards the end of the session. Safe to say I was told there was a bit of chaos and havoc that happened while I was gone. So this is going to be a relatively interesting episode. And I'm playing Chiharu. That's me.
All right, last but
Baseless
certainly not
allegations.
least. Last but certainly not least, all right.
Hi, I am Ari. I am here to play Elias tonight. But you can find me at Twitter at Small Shadow Snack, and I am now over on Blue Sky at Aurelia Crane, which I have not used yet, but it's there, so I'm there. Expect possums. They're in the process of migrating.
All right, well, now that that has been concluded, it is my duty to let you know that the world of darkness can be a difficult and dangerous and unpleasant place to be. I have spoken with these wonderful people, and we have discussed on how we can make this journey comfortable and make sure that everyone is having a good time. So I encourage you to do the same. If you need to mute us, refresh our page, or etc., please do so, as if you aren't having fun, there's no point to us being here and sharing this story. Now that warning has been completed, it is time to return to our cabal. We rejoin our story as the three of you have been escorted to your living quarters. You have been allowed to go about finding food and taking care of the general needs that you would normally have to deal with. You all have listened as rumors began to spread throughout the chantry. Suspected attack, battle gone wrong. No one seems to truly have the full story, though the beliefs are starting to become a bit hard to ignore. The occasional side eye as you are going about your day has become a bit difficult. Chiharu, you have found yourself surprisingly free. Your cabal mates have not approached you recently. You've been allowed to get through some extra martial arts training. You've been able to do a little bit of research onto different things, including more of the spirits and the history of the Garu and magicians and how they've been interacting with one another. Before you...
Chiharu also, not last episode, but the previous episode, sent out a notification to their family to ask for assistance for helping to deal with the vampire threat located here in LA. So I think especially with their free time being in place, Chiharu was going to spend as much time as he could try to gather associated forces of the Guru nature to help eliminate the vampire, and then eventually talk to the leads about a specific staff that we have.
Not anymore.
Well, roll
We
me,
had.
roll me your manipulation, and let's go with
Manipulation?
leadership. Yeah, let's go with manipulation and leadership. This will be to see how you can reach out to the required people and get them in position, get the needs kind of arrange or administer what you would need for this. This is a difficult thing, trying to cross state lines, let alone regions. So we'll see how well Chiharu is at the logistics of this.
Does my shape changer can and powerful ally add any dots by chance? Because those are like
They
10
will
points.
not add dice, but they will affect the difficulty. They are affecting the difficulty. And I will say you can do either manipulation or intelligence. I will say either of those.
Okay, intelligence. At least I got two dots there, because my manipulation is 1, and I have nothing at leadership. So I was just like, this is going to go horribly. Okay, so what's the difficulty?
5.
5. Okay. Oh, okay. 2 successes. 9 and a 7.
Okay. You have reached out to a few people, and your family has reached out to others in the Los Angeles region. You believe you would be able to gain the aid of some Guru. It is going to be difficult, as getting the various groups to work together is a chore in of itself. But the idea of a powerful vampire being unchecked has gotten you some audiences. What I will say is you will have the ability to call upon their assistance one time, and they will come within. Let me just roll. We'll see. We'll see how fast. All right, we'll say within 6 hours of your call. So you do have some strategic ability, but it will be something that you can only pull off once, as your allies are in the Cleveland area, and you're straining your connections to be this far away from home. But you can jot that down on your character sheet.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So now that they got that, they was like, okay. So it's perfect. Got the friends and their allies in there. Next was going to be talk to the folks about the staff, and then talk to the party about what he was able to discover.
Are you trying to speak to someone amongst the werewolves about the staff, or are you trying to speak with?
Clear mind. Clear mind would be. Yeah, Clear mind would be their leader or their side.
Okay.
Right. I think Clear mind is the one for the Akashic Brotherhood. I think. Okay. Yeah,
I will say you are able to return to the mountain. And I will say, since you already made the test and you would have already been able to arrange this meeting, you are able to encounter her towards the base of the mountain instead of the top. And she is wearing a very ceremonial kind of outfit. It almost looks like a kimono, but it is kind of cinched tighter, and it's in a very strange color that you haven't seen before. It almost seems to ripple through a series of colors, starting with reds, then whites, then sparkles. Give me an intelligence occult roll. See if you can figure out what's going on.
All right. Intelligence occult. Okay.
Intelligence occult.
What's the difficulty?
8.
Ooh. Okay.
It's difficult.
Oh, nice. 9, 8, and a 6. So 2 successes.
Okay. So as you take a moment to kind of look at it, and you almost miss it, but it isn't until you see the sparkling and realize that it is much more intense than what you've seen before, and you figure the robe is displaying either her aura or a reading of possible auras. You aren't sure, as although the outfit is changing colors, her expression seems to be this constantly serene thing. But you don't think it's yours, as you take a second to match the colors, and you don't think your emotions are changing, but you're pretty sure that it's supposed to represent auras.
Chiharu first bows, of course, as always, as a huge sign of respect. Full 90-degree angle. And as they complete the bow, they look up at the dress. That is beautiful. Are you sensing someone from here?
Yes. It was a gift from my teacher a few decades ago. Oh, a few centuries, now that I think about it.
Wait, how old does she look?
Maybe 40.
Chiharu is normally relatively stoic, but even he cannot hide a clear people's eyebrow from the centuries comment, because he was not aware that mages could live for that long period of time. Chiharu says, that is a beautiful, beautiful gift. What are you sensing? Who are you sensing?
I can hear the... Oh, hold on. Oliver, can you mute your microphone for me? Please? Alright, I'm able to sense a few people. People who are important to me. It lets me know that the few sleepers that are, well, vital are still doing well, though they are going through their own difficulties.
Well, as long as they are there, I guess that is what's most important. Better to be alive and pushing forward than not be around at all.
Indeed. But I get the feeling you did not come to me to ask for my opinions on the sleepers. How can I help you?
Well, first, how much are you aware of me, by chance?
I know what I need to know. Are you still struggling to find balance between your two natures?
Chiharu gives the smallest of smirks from that statement and nods gently. I feel that would be a conflict for a very long time. And I believe it is this ordeal that I bring to you that also creates this conflict. Or the two different natures, I believe, view what I'm about to say very differently. This evolves the concept of balefire. There is a staff that is being used here. And under the Guru nature, that staff is an abomination. It needs to be removed, exorcised, destroyed, because it represents everything that Gaia hates. Yet, my understanding, mages, us, perhaps view balefire differently, as a tool to be used and manipulated. And so I struggle with this concept.
Well, the first problem that you will encounter is to say that mages feel anything is incorrect. You could ask 1,000 of us our opinion on our favorite foods and you'd get a million different answers. Personally, I find balefire detestable, and I imagine most of the dream speakers do as well. but like anything, there are others who feel differently. Finding a way for us to all get along is difficult enough without rehashing things that are, but some would argue, pointless. The act of creating what you all refer to as balefire is not especially difficult. It is simply burning ephemera, burning spirit material. But the difficulty comes from when you realize that spirits are also ephemera. That is where what I understand the evilness comes from, to turn spirits themselves into destructive forces. Demons and devils are known to do so and to give it out to their followers. It is poor to rely on such things or to deal with them. Many, many good magicians have been lost as they tried to control such forces. Even we were not untouched.
Oh, the viewpoint of Bellfire is not group oriented like it is with the group. You're stating that it varies case by case depending upon the mage.
Of course, like everything, we all will tell you that we hate diabolism and demon worship, and we do, but we are all very good at defining what that is differently. Some of our friends in the Order make it very clear that making a demon work for you is not the same as worshipping one. Others will tell you that if you imprison a demon inside of an object, it can be better used. I've seen many of us justify everything to get what we want. It's never worth it.
I am very glad that I came to you with this endeavor. Though I still struggle to know what to do next. I wish to erase this staff from the face of existence because when I see it, my guru side, all it that screams abomination. But it does not belong to me. It belongs to a friend. How can I cross the aisle and get him to see how dangerous this thing could be?
I would recommend talking. You will soon discover, if you haven't already, that despite all our powers, we are just as helpless as the sleepers. In some ways more. As we know what's out there, we know the dead can still be talked to. Events that did not have to happen. Natural disasters that we could prevent with the wave of our hand still kill thousands. It is a surefire path that will ultimately end in our failings, our savings in some way. But not everyone will see reason. I'm under the impression you have not heard recent events.
No. Recent events, I have been trying to gather those of my kin to gather together and eliminate a vampire who seems to wish to eliminate innocent people. The vampire is also tipsy to do things with a friend of mine, special person.
Mm.
So I've been fortunate enough to gather that allies to move forward now with this attack. We now have a way to bring this vampire to his knees. But yes, I have as something new approach. As the vampire made his way here, I was concerned that because they were able to enter the Umbra in our event. So I fear that if he could enter the Umbra at his wish, would he not have the ability to enter this chantry if he knew where its location was?
No, I doubt the undead could make their way here, but I suppose nothing is truly impossible. Attacking the chantry from outside would be quite the feat. But as long as no one gives over one of their keys to this place, it wouldn't be very likely. But it appears your cabal attempted to do a summoning, and it did not go very well. A few people have been injured, though I'm told that your companion, Mr. Winters, is more or less all right. The staff that you were concerned about has been confiscated, and it is a truly odd thing.
I am confused. My understanding, part of our approach was to reach out to Azariah and have her perform the summon to extract the special someone. And once that extraction would take place, we would gather together, head to LA with my Guru allies, the kin, and eliminate this vampire. Was Azariah not the person to summon? Did something go wrong with the summon?
No. The young witch was able to summon the spirit, but your companion, Mr. Tristan, was impatient. The staff offered a sure way to power, and like a moth to flame, they used it. Unfortunately, there were injuries. The staff's influence was greater than your companion had realized. From what we were able to see, we do not believe that there was any intentional infernalism, which, for the record, you and your companions should learn to cover their tracks a bit better. There are ways to ensure people are not able to watch what you did and what you were doing.
I asked Eric not to use the staff due to the conflict that it would cause with my Guru allies. There's no way my kin would join in on this endeavor with this vampire if a Bellfire staff was used along with it. The person who is injured, you said they are no longer injured?
Mr. Winters was healed. Azariah, not so much. Her particular condition makes her much more susceptible to spiritual attacks. As a result, she is being healed.
Well, is there anything we can do? You
No.
should not have been injured in this endeavor.
I have a few friends helping with us, even from outside of the chantry, some more experienced life masters. Unfortunately, life mastery is not one that any of us possess, but I believe she will be okay in time. However, there is a disciplinary meeting soon. Unfortunately, they are your cabal, so you will share in some of the consequences, though they are very aware that you spent your time elsewhere. And the fact that you have come to speak to me now is further supports your disinvolvement.
I know I should not feel this way, but for some reason I feel betrayed. This is not the right way. I don't understand why. I will need to meditate this conversation. Thank you for bringing this to my endeavor. To my knowledge. And I completely understand the need for consequences. So I wanted the absolute opposite to happen and did not wish for the staff to be involved at all. Perhaps there may be a possibility to lighten the load, as per se. Thank you for this conversation. And
Of course.
if you are aware of other ways to help bridge the gap of my two natures, I would appreciate any advice you would have.
There will be more than enough time for you to learn, to find answers for yourself. However, for now, we are needed elsewhere. Would you like to accompany me?
It will be an honor.
And you watch as she reaches a hand forward, and it's almost as if the air in front of her becomes malleable, almost like it's made out of a thin film. And as she reaches out, she pulls her hand back, and the air itself begins to fall away, as it's almost like she was pulling through tissue paper. And you see her step forward, only as she steps, instead of going forward in space, she steps into this newly created hole, and she disappears from your view. Do you follow her?
Indeed.
All right. Now, for the three of you, my question is, are the three of you spending time together or separately?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
I probably would not if I can avoid it, be with anyone. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to actively avoid anyone, but I'd just keep it to myself, I guess.
Okay.
So leave me alone.
All right. Elias and Oliver.
Elias is probably staying to himself, trying to see if he can get his phone to work.
All right. In
Oliver's
that case,
probably just staying in his books. Not a lot else to do right now, but study and think about what we've done.
in that case, in front of each of you, you watch as the air in front of you shimmers, and a pair of black and green walls, stone doors, rather, not walls, appear seemingly out of nowhere. And etched on both fronts of the doors are ancient symbols. Oliver, you recognize them as being Enochian. Eric and Elias, you see them, and it's almost as if the symbols themselves are preventing you from understanding them. As you try and focus on them, a sense of foreboding or a judgmental disdain seems to radiate from them, as if the doors of the symbols themselves are disappointed in your attempt to read them, to understand them. The doors open and a man steps forward. They have obsidian-like skin that is almost reflective, and you can see nestled in the center of his chest is a dark red and green gem that is pulsing softly. This person has no hair and isn't wearing any clothing, but they look almost like a Barbie doll almost. And as they look at each of you, Master Yoka, I request your attendance in this meeting.
Just so I'm clear, is this an individual person who meets us all separately, or are we together?
You are each experiencing this separately.
Okay, but we're all experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
And who wants to see us? I'm sorry, Master Yoda?
Yoka.
Yoka.
Whoa. I remember Yoko. She broke up the Beatles. I'm not getting involved in this.
I will of course follow instructions.
Is everyone walking through the door?
Oh, you said Yoka. Okay. Yeah.
Begrudgingly, yes.
All right. As
Well,
you
like, okay.
as you step through the door, there's a brief period of nothingness, an empty void. You figure this is what you'd imagine walking through space would feel like, without the cold or pain. And just as you begin to kind of reflect on being alone, as that idea of being trapped in here begins to pass through your mind, the darkness fades, and you find yourself standing in the center of a Egyptian hall. On either side of you, in kind of a half circle, you find 3 tiers of stone benches. So standing and sitting at these benches, you see 42 people. They all look strange. Some of them look human, some of them look humanoid with the heads of various animals. Others look completely alien. And standing directly across from you are 2 people. One is Master Yoka, who you met from the Order of Hermes. Another is a man in completely out of fashion for this environment, is wearing a very colorful green, blue, and red kente cloth. And in one hand is a very well-made wooden staff with the head of a animal of some kind on it. It looks like the head of a bull, except for it has 2 horns on the top and then 2 horns going down, almost forming like an H. And as you all enter, the door closes behind you. Do you all say or do anything?
You just those 3 right now, right? I haven't made my way in.
Just those 3.
Looking around. There's something we can help you with.
Well, it is good to see that the 3 of you haven't changed at all. You are not afraid. That is good.
Oh, a little bit of fear is prudent. Too much fear is crippling. Need to keep moving forward. Let bygones be bygones.
I'm taking my cue from these guys.
Well, once our third member arrives, we will commence with formally passing judgment for your actions, and you will be informed on what task it is you are to complete. And ideally, you all will be able to continue your lives after a brief moment of respite where you can be of use to your fellow awakened and hopefully not make such mistakes again in the future.
I thought we already had judgment passed on us.
I thought so too.
You were not told the details of your deal, where you're going, what you need to do.
Ah,
There will be no more additional punishments, assuming you all don't do anything unexpected. Before she can begin again, there is a brief tear in space. And right in between the three of you, a person steps forward. And Chiharu, you find yourself stepping into a room as I have described before. I will say if any of you have enough, if at least 2 dots of occult, you can attempt to roll an intelligence in occult to see if you understand what this room is supposed to be or is. The difficulty will be 7.
You said 2 dots to the cult?
Yes, at least 2 dots in occult.
Oh.
What was the DC?
7.
7.
2
One success.
successes.
2 successes, 1 successes. Oliver, did you roll? Were you able to roll?
My browser crashed it out, so I was opening it again.
Okay. All right, we'll give you a moment. Well, I'll start with you two. With 1 success, Elias, you feel like this room seems vaguely familiar to you. You know you haven't been in it before, but you feel like you might have read about it before. Maybe you've seen a picture of something similar, but you aren't quite sure from where. Herrick, with 2 successes, you're pretty sure this is at least a replica of the room from Egyptian mythology, the one where you're supposed to have your heart measured against a feather or something to that effect. It's a bit more odd looking as you look around. You definitely didn't expect to see people that looked quite so strange, but it doesn't meet the history you've heard, the myths you've heard about it.
Does so what's the difficulty for the roll? Is it 6?
7.
Yeah, roll 20 always starts me at the very top. 2 successes.
And you are as aware of everything that I told Eric.
Yeah.
Then, as the rip behind Chiharu fades, another one appears. And a woman who looks to be Asian, a bit paler in features, in a very rainbowy colored kimono-like outfit. It almost looks like a kimono, though it's different than any you all have seen. She steps out next to the other 2 across from you all. Hello, you all must be the cabal I have been hearing so much about. I'm happy to meet you, though I wish it could have been done under different circumstances.
All good things, I hope.
I have heard your ambition and desire to help is very high, and for that I am thankful. And the man steps forward. I am sorry for what happened to your loved one, Mr. Tristan. I have done what I can to stabilize her ephemeral appearance, though it will take some time before she is able to exit the doll. It will be returned to you once we finish here.
The doll or Jessica?
Jessica, I will return
Just
both.
making sure
to
we're
you.
clear on the terms.
Yeah, of course. I am aware of the difficulties of dealing with loved ones that have passed forward onto a different part of life. But I suppose that is not quite what we are here for today. As a result of your cabal's actions, one of our members has been seriously injured. We are currently working to maintain Azariah's condition. However, the particular damage done to her is extensive and it does not look very good. You all will be notified on her ultimate fate once it is determined. However, you all are here because you all have been given an ordeal. Per the rules of the ordeal, you all will have 1 year to complete your task. Assuming you are able to do so, you will be welcomed back into the Chantry with open arms, and all sins forgiven, though not forgotten. To the 3 of you that were not directly involved in the use of such a powerful artifact, your punishment will end then. For you, Mr. Tristan, it has been agreed that you will bear the mark of the misguided for a year further. It is not our opinion that you all are infernalists, nor were you attempting to bring harm to the rest of the Chantry. If there are any other words you wish to say, you may speak now. If not, we will move forward.
May the tasks that we be given be used in a way to help aid Azariah, as she was an innocent in all of this. And my conscience would feel much more clear if I could find a way to heal her from all of this.
In a way, you will be able to bring her some assistance. There was a problem that she was dealing with, something that she was struggling to solve, as her particular gifts do not make her very well suited for combat with others, especially other awakened. Your task will be to investigate a group of murders. One of the victims is someone that was important to young Azariah. I will not discuss the situation more, as I do not know if she'd want such knowledge to be shared. For us, our loved ones are potential pain points, as I'm sure Mr. Tristan understands, ones that do not go away even after death. We want you all to go and to deal with this threat. We have reasons to believe that the person doing these murders is a awakened. More specifically, they are either one of the lost or one of the mad. Either a Nefandi or a marauder. Ordinarily, one of or the 3 of us would deal with this problem ourselves. However, we are not able to step foot in the mortal world at this time. So we will be sending the 4 of you. We do not believe you will be dealing with a master magician, someone much closer to your rank. I believe the order would refer to them as adepts. Someone who has attained the 4th rank or some such. You are to investigate the murders, put a stop to them, and then either bring us the culprit or proof that the culprit has been dealt with. You all are free to use any connections you have outside of the Chantry. However, the resources of the Chantry will be lost to you until you have completed the task. We will arrange for you to be sent to a safe house, but once there, it will be up to you to arrange for your survival and the things you need. I imagine that the four of you can take care of your day-to-day necessities. Are there any questions?
So there will be no assistance provided on this endeavor?
Master Yoka looks forward at each of you. No. This is a task that needs to be completed by the four of you without our assistance.
Can we gather our belongings before we go?
You all have the rest of the day to gather as whatever you need. You may use this time however you see fit, whether it is saying goodbye, gathering debts that are owed, or whatever else is needed. But by midnight, you will be expected to depart.
I'm clear.
I have a familiar, Hoshi, who also was not involved in any of this. How will Hoshi be addressing this?
Your familiar is free to do as they please. Familiars do not typically have any ability within the chantry. However, if they are able to bring you assistance, that is for you to... And Clear Sky speaks up. I believe they are concerned about their quintessence allowances. They will need to feed their companion, of course. And I do not recall young Jaharu being directly involved. So I do not feel it would be very... Then Master Yoka looks at each of you. According to the rules of Ordeal, you are not supposed to have aid from within the chantry. What exactly are you requesting, Mr. Jaharu?
I think since their mind was on the right path, I understand the need for consequences coming from a group that understands group mentality. It's understandable in multiple ways, but especially for a task such as this, where we are now putting innocent individuals in jeopardy. I would hope that we could be able to have some allowances to help make sure this task comes to fruition. Especially because these are individuals associated with Azariah. I will want to try my hardest to make sure that we keep her family members, well, if they are family members, loved ones, safe. And I believe at least allowing Hoshi to reside and partake in the contestants provided here will at least be a small portion to help benefit that goal.
Give me a charisma and expression roll.
Oh no! What? Oh god! Oh god! Yep. Well, this is going to fail. Hey, I understand. We got to give it a shot.
You have to remember that the Mage Ascension is also a social game. And the social aspects are also important.
Very important.
Would anyone like to attempt to help young Jaharu at his difficult situation?
not good with words. We all know this, fam. We all know this.
I think you are very well spoken. I mean, I will help him, of course, in any way I can. But what was that I need to roll again?
Is charisma and expression.
I have no expression. It's not something. I have no idea what that even means.
How you know that?
But I have 3 charisma. Can I just roll charisma? I don't know. Does that help?
Sure.
All right. What's the difficulty?
7.
7? Okay. 9. 1 success.
Yeah, and you can have my 1 success. So yeah, it's like 2 successes. It's like a lot.
I had a 9 and a 6. I was just like, well, yeah, makes sense. My 2 dots in charisma wasn't going to go far.
Okay. Would you like to spend any willpower on this roll?
Oh yes. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I played Mage. Thank you for I would definitely spit it willpower.
That kind. As some. Well, first, Eric, what do you say to aid Chiharu?
I don't know. I just feel bad.
Chiharu, come back.
Maybe come back. What specifically are you asking from the Chantry? Are you planning to leave Hoshi here, or and
no, allow Hoshi to be able to
continue partaking in
the
essence, but stay with us?
Well, because they can be able to go back and forth without issues. As a familiar,
but you can't.
I can't.
So you could send Hoshi here.
Yes, pretty much eat. He's pretty much going out there, get food, and then he's coming back.
I clearly have no idea how familiars work. Why can't you just buy dog food? Like, I don't.
Well, otherwise, what we would have to do is we would have to find a
like a node
that
I own in Cleveland. You're saying, like, because I got that. Hoshi could live the rest of his days as a fat, happy dog feeding off quintessence in Cleveland.
Well, the issue is because of the amount that he eats, because he's pretty high on the familiar status. Those are quintessence that would have to be locked down and not available to anyone else. That's the note. So it's pretty much making sure that someone else could have. If we could have,
I'm just filled with rage still, and I'm sure speaking would not help at all. Which works. Resonance. Look at that. Temperament. Anger. 1 die. That's what I got. I just kind of like, I could be like, come on. I mean, it's bad enough you're roping in Chiharu for something he wasn't even here for, but the dog. Oh, she's a good boy. That's the bestest boy. It's the bestest boy.
Chiharu gently smiles at that and slowly nods that he's the bestest boy.
We all know this. We all know she's the bestest boy. I speak to the 40-something odd people in here. You wouldn't leave this dog out on the streets, would you? I mean, come on. Have a heart.
The rules of the Chantry do not allow for your personal feelings. And before she's able to continue, Clear Sky waves a hand. Although rules are important, I do believe there is a reason to be merciful. If we are unable to bend, then things must be broken. Although you are unable to receive aid from the Chantry, you are able to receive gifts from friends. And you see she waves a hand, and a jeweled necklace. It has a single jade in the center, and then it goes around with white pearls all the way back. And as she holds this in her hand, she says something in Japanese. I don't think you actually have Japanese except for Chiharu. So roll me perception awareness to see if you can catch what she says. Alertness, not awareness. Difficulty 7.
Was everyone using roll 20?
Yeah, I think so. Roll 20 down. Now it's good.
No, it was working for me earlier.
Okay.
I just see Oliver. Yeah.
All right. It's just. Did you roll the perception alertness?
Who?
Did it work? Chara.
Oh, me. Oh, my.
Yep. Yeah. You're the only one who speaks Japanese here.
My apologies. I thought
unless someone else has been studying.
because I understood Japanese, and I thought everyone
There's
else was rolling.
There's a good distance between you, so you have to see if you pick up the words. But
My apologies there. I completely misunderstood it. You said perception, alertness.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you said difficulty 7 or 6?
7.
7. Okay. Ooh, nice. 1. I wish I had 4 dots in perception. But 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
You pick it up and it's very faint, but she says, "A gift once given is given again." And the necklace flies over and it lands in the palm of your hand. And you see Master Yoko look at her for just a moment, and you see she considers speaking before nodding her head. And then the man looks at the 4 of you. Your task will not be easy. If you are dealing with a Nafandi, you may be dealing with a monster. If you are dealing with a marauder, you may be dealing with all manners of madness. I imagine that the 4 of you have never had the opportunity to fight with one of those beings.
Have we? OC?
No.
Have you ever dealt with that in the past?
No. You would not have.
Oh, okay.
None of you wrote that into your backstories. Oh, no.
That's true. Okay. Just curious. I was like, wait, no one? And then, okay. Makes sense.
Allow me to give the 4 of you some advice. There was a time before Chantries and most of the cabals where we were forced to rely on ourselves. The 4 of you will need to cooperate in ways that you may not have thought of before. When you are dealing with a marauder, you should assume that the rules do not apply to them. I am not sure why. I don't know anyone who is particularly knowledgeable about what those people are capable of. But paradox does not work properly around them. I would strongly suggest you learn ways to defend yourselves that do not rely directly on your arts. You find yourself fighting a Nafandi, and he lowers his gaze at you, Eric. Be careful. When the darkness is coming, it becomes very easy to convince ourselves that we must do whatever it takes to survive. That breaking the rules to defeat someone worse than you, to fight a monster, is acceptable. There are fates far worse than death in this world. Do not allow yourself to be dragged down into that darkness. I wish the 4 of you luck. Make friends. There are people out there outside of us. And I look forward to the four of you returning one day. And perhaps you will have gained new gifts that you can share with us.
Yaru bows low in a sign of respect for the entire group. But the aim of the bow is definitely specifically at clear mind for the gift.
Right. If there are no more things you wish to know,
How will you inform us of Azariah's outcome?
I will send you a message with a spirit friend of mine. One that has been wanting to explore the world a bit more.
Again, if there is anything we could do to aid her injury, please let us know.
I was told that you all were much more passionate. Perhaps my rumors were not correct.
Passionate
Oh,
for?
You all were had a tendency to speak up more often. I had been looking forward to seeing the passions of youth, but there's wisdom in knowing when not to speak.
Especially when it's fruitless.
I mean, the last time we spoke up, we were promptly dismissed. So sometimes figure why bother, you know?
Precisely, I find that, talking to a wall gets you nowhere.
Well, I hope that we can develop a bit more complicated relationships in the future.
Absolutely not.
Unlikely.
Yaru just like eyes just start starting darting him up. Like, oh, what did he miss out on? It's going to be interesting.
If that's it. Sorry, go ahead, Sharon.
If I may, I come from a background that is different from most. And there is a different viewpoint among that background in comparison to here. Here, individualism seems to be strong. They focus on the self and enlightenment and the path of being awakened. Where I come from is group based. And so I understand the conflict that is among my cabal mates here. As it feels for being part of a group to be temporarily excommunicated is disheartening and painful. From my background, if such a thing would exist, there is no greater shame. So I understand the rift between the two. I understand that this is not one of my backgrounds. It is its own separate nature, and so it has its own rules that needs to be applied. But in order to build bridges, I feel that one should not be excommunicated or removed or if it happens once, it may happen again, and the trust is broken. And that group that you have strong ties with, that loyalty fades. So I understand the difficulties that both individuals strive for. I understand why my cabal mates stated what they stated. I do not expect any differences to happen here, but I do hope that perhaps in the future, when punishments are given for a situation such as this, perhaps the ties that brings us together isn't so easily broken. That's all I was.
Master Ioka steps forward, and you can hear the doors come back into being behind the four of you. You all will be sent to Harlem, New York. We have arranged for a safe house that you will be able to stay in for a week. After that, you all will be expected to arrange for your own living conditions. I look forward to hearing about your successes. And you all may leave.
I just turn and leave. As soon as he says it, we're dismissed.
Yahara does give what a final bow at the group. And depart.
All right. You all, I assume you all are leaving. Is that
Yes.
correct? All right. You
Make
all
like a tree and a leaf.
Heading
You
back to my
all
living
are-
quarters.
you all are deposited in a kind of a large atrium-like room, and the doors close, and the four of you are free to do as you would like.
How much time between now and midnight?
It's about 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, so we got a long time. You would want to steal a staff. Oh, I'm joking. I'm joking.
All kids want to see a dead body.
Hey.
Yahara looks towards the others and says, "Did you all mean what you said?"
Oh, absolutely. I have no intention of coming back here.
Oh, good. It wasn't just me, Elias.
No.
I mean, it's a big world. The Chantry is but one of many places in it, and but one of the many places for practitioners such as us to engage with. So, if it seems I mean, I feel like it seemed pretty unreasonable the way things were handled this last instance. So I have no love loss.
I understand the wishes. I struggle at times due to some of the things performed here contradicting my raisings of sorts. Elias, we may have something to discuss about because I have not really talked to you about certain endeavors. That will happen. I do believe that they feel something needs to be done due to the injury that was
Oh, of
given
course.
as a Ryan.
Yes, so we're here to be made an example of.
To make it feel as if there was justice done for Azariah. If no consequences was given, it would seem they will most likely assume people will believe they could do further behaviors and not be punished.
Exactly, it's a power trip.
But I feel the issue resides in the consequence itself, and not that the consequences were given. It's hard to try to guard someone or a group of people who view things individually versus a group mentality of sorts. But when you're in a group and you trust that group through thick and thin, breaking ties with that group should feel problematic. It should feel inconsequential. And the way they spoke in that room, it felt as if there was very little connection between us and them.
Well, you weren't in the last room with us, to be fair.
What took place there?
I don't know if I want to get into details, but let's just say they asked to hear our voices, but our voices were not heard. We speak of group mentality, trust, and I heard your words in there, and I would agree with you. But we're not the ones. We're not the ones that are breaking up this connection we have with the group.
Oh, yes. To be clear, I was referring to flaws that they were indicating. I tried to express that in the room, that to remove us from the chantry should be considered as if removing a family member. Or
to be clear,
friends.
The last conversation we had with them, I 100% agree with their judgment. I disagree that you are all guilty by association. I am more than happy to leave based on my actions.
You should not have been removed either.
But at least that I would understand. You weren't even there, and you're being cast out with the rest of us as if you were nothing. You provide more value to this chantry than anyone else here. But still, you're associated with me, thus you are guilty. So I'm with Elias. Don't feel any need to come back here. This is not the family that I want.
I understand. I was trying to express that in the room without giving too much detail. And he looked towards Elias and just says, I shouldn't beat around the bush. I would just be frank. My family members are werewolf. I'm raised by werewolf. My upbringing is werewolf. So my viewpoint is mostly werewolf based, even though I am awake. And in the werewolf kind, and we call ourselves the Guru. Unless you perform actions that were entirely, if you join the worm and you pledge yourself to the worm, that's among the worst I could see why you ever be considered excommunicated from. And so I try to express that, but to have them to see that the consequences of removing us entirely is strenuous. But because mages are not group mentality based and they're very individualistic, as we saw among the three individuals, one gave me a gift because she understood that this was unfair. The other two clearly did not agree with such a statement. So there's fracture among the heads. There's fracture among them. Who knows how deep the splitters ride in the chantry itself.
I think their leadership problems are more in regards to the fact that that item was able to get in and be used at all under their noses, and they just don't want to take responsibility for that.
Staff?
Mm-hmm. Because you guys were here months before I even showed up. That staff presumably was here the entire time.
Yes. So to be clear, or to be frank, I was entirely unaware the staff was of a particular origin until not so recently.
I don't
But
think any of us were.
but we are not mages of the highest order. I could understand how it would slip through our fingers, our knowledge until it revealed itself. But I expressed before, if this staff can make it through without any problem, I referred to the vampire that we were dealing with before.
Mm.
I cannot see how they may find similar avenues to break away into the chantry in disguise or completely hidden. But there's nothing much we could do at that standpoint because we have been removed. So, from my understanding, you all do not wish to return to the chantry after all this is said and done.
No, absolutely not. I'm ever mind of going back to Scotland.
Why there?
Oh, my husband's lecturing at the university.
So you wish to break up the cabal as well?
I mean, there is such a thing called an aeroplane. But I have not been able to
Elias.
get a hold of him for 2 days because they're blocking my phone.
Who's blocking your phone?
Oh, probably one of the morons in that room back there.
Why would they prevent you from communicating with your... Sorry, what is the title that he is given? Ex? Husband? Boyfriend?
Estranged.
We
They're not
don't know. We
divorced
just
again.
don't bring it up. We
just don't bring it up. They're estranged.
They're together, but not. We haven't. We're just
Some
avoiding the
guy.
subject. Yeah.
Ocean between right now.
Some guy.
I just wish to be respectful in terms of the appropriate title he should be given, but I suddenly froze as I didn't recall what that title would be. So my apologies.
It's fine. We're not divorced again yet. And rather, I would prefer to go make up with him rather than being a dog on a leash back here.
What's his title? Not divorced again yet.
I can't quite call him my thrice divorced husband. He's currently just the twice divorced, possibly one impending. But that's a very long name.
So,
it's been a while, okay?
Understandable. I am not wishing for you to keep a distance away from your husband, but to fully move there, that is no different than why not just have him come where we reside? As a cabal, I just spoke about being family, being a group, and then you're...
Have you not been paying attention? It's complicated.
It is very complicated, and I'd rather work it through before we make any decisions.
For the third time.
For the third time. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for that again.
Yep.
Don't remember which wedding you all were at. It could have been 2 or 3, but you know.
Yeah, I skipped the third one. What was the point?
Thank God. I mean, that one was really just a re-signing of paperwork. But he is currently lecturing in Edinburgh, and I frankly would like to go see him eventually. It's kind of hard to work things out when your phone is blocked and you're constantly put on wild goose chases.
I completely understand, and I don't understand why they would block his number from you. How would he? What does he have to do with all of this? Of your consequences? I don't understand that.
Well, I guess he is also a mage, so I think he might spring me from jail. Which, you know, at his age, I would be rather impressed if he could spring me from any sort of jail, let alone a magical building.
Well, I just wish that hopefully we can stay together as a group, as a family as well. Otherwise, all of this would be for naught. That's the purpose of moving forward as mages, as a cabal, being excommunicated for something, to then just splinter ourselves. How would we be no different than what the Chantry just performed?
We wouldn't be a part of the Chantry. That's good enough for me.
How true, it would mean that we're performing the same behaviors that they just done. For much less of a reason, to be honest.
Listen, I owe all of you my life, and I wish we keep in touch. But where we go from here, it's unknown. I think at the very least, I need a little time to meditate, as you've taught me, and try to remember why I'm here. And perhaps with time, my outlook may change, but for now, I'm pretty set in my decision.
And Oliver, what about you?
Well, I need to work, so I'm going to go where the work is. And if my cabal is leaving the Chantry, and after these recent events, I've viewed the Chantry as disposable as they viewed me, so I have no qualms in leaving. It's just like any other job, just a bit more magical, I guess.
I do not wish to, I will not try to Armstrong you into considering that the Chantry may just need to adjust their ways and give them a second chance, nor would I Armstrong or strong arm you into thinking the Cabal should stick together after all of this is over with. You all are, of course, grown adults. I have just recently became that. That's why I probably don't remember the wedding last time. I think I was at the kiddie table when that took place.
That was right. The other tables were 21 and older.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why America has such weird drinking ages.
Well, you know, the Chantry may change, but at the moment, it doesn't seem like we're in much of a position to do that. So perhaps we need to seek experience elsewhere if we want to enact said changes.
Why don't we just sit around and wait for the Chantry to change? I'm sure that will be in our lifetime.
No. There would, if the Chantry was to change, we would have to initiate change. I could see by just our discussion alone, there's no way the Chantry would shift their mindset on its own. It would have to be a movement within the Chantry to see those changes made. And to be honest, I'm not sure how you all feel about this. I mostly felt this way due, again, my werewolf background. But to try to bring something of an entirely different origin into mages, especially when I learn from, as a clear mind, how mages view things differently. It would be very difficult. That was also why I was a bit confused as to the consequences, as according to her, the viewpoint of using that staff first for the mage outlook is not universal. I, of course, view Bellfire as an abomination because it is a front to everything werewolves stand for. But there are mages who utilizes that tool as long as it doesn't enter or reach directly into infernalism. I think the term they give it is semantics, I think it's called.
Semantics. Yes.
As such, that is the case. I believe part of the consequences is more of a public fronting than the actual belief, actual belief of what mages stand for. Because if Bellfire was truly an abomination to all mages, then all mages would have that same viewpoint, and it wouldn't be considered a case-by-case scenario, or how much Bellfire can be used in order to be considered acceptable. So it's very complicated. Nevertheless, I completely understand where you're coming from. And if we decide to go our own separate ways, at least for right now, I respect all of your decisions. You know, wish you all the best.
Well, I think I'm going to go and pack then. As a reminder, I'm not leaving you all. Boons are still owed, and if you ever need me for anything, I'll be in Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
Yeah, I know, but got to build up that equity, yo.
And I have no plan to leave, as you all are aware. So my family resides there.
I got a spare bedroom. Looking for a roomie.
I appreciate the offer. I think I will spend some time with my family first before obviously taking that under consideration. I like to regroup back with family, just so I can remind myself what it's supposed to feel like.
Well, that family of yours, Shiharu, definitely cares more about you than this Chantry does.
That was the biggest thing that I took notice of. Thank you for speaking that out loud. I was trying to state that while not being blunt, because it's a completely different viewpoint from what I was seeing among the Chantry versus people really can.
Well, as the mages like to often say, it's not about the emotion, right? So you shouldn't need to worry about hurting their feelings. Just tell them what you see.
That is true. That is very true. But
Although,
yeah,
depending on who you tell,
year.
you may find out whether or not those feelings really do come into play.
That's true. So, it seems Eric and I are headed to Cleveland. Oliver, are you coming along?
Oh, let's see. I have about the same amount of time left in town as you guys, but so yes, why not? Let's go to Cleveland. It could be worse, right? There are worse places than Cleveland.
It has its bright spots. Elias, I understand that you wish to, of course, speak with. Okay, you have to give me his name. If I could give him a title, I need at least a name too.
John, it's John.
John. I know.
You really
I
do
know.
not remember seeing my husband. He stands at roughly my height. I feel like the gray beard would have literally caught your attention.
Oh, it's Viziage. I recall entirely. It's just the name because I could not hear due to how rowdy the 21 and over table was at the time. Again, I was at the kids' table, so I could.
To be honest, he's got a lot of cousins, and they all kind of got rip-roaring drunk. Although I don't remember if anybody actually got up and danced on the tables, I too was a little intoxicated.
It did happen. It was definitely so. It was definitely a sight to remember. I remember quite a bit of the events. It's just a lot of the specific details I could not make out because I was not allowed over there. Which I have no hard feelings. I know my age was not allowed over there. Even though I said I wasn't going to drink, I take my honor very seriously. I respect that you all wish to keep me at the kids' table.
It's the next, if there is a next time, you'll be at the big table instead. But yes, let's go get our belongings and what is the American phrase? Blow this popsicle stand or something like that.
Very good. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Good,
God.
good. You're learning.
I've lived here for too long. If I start microwaving water for tea, please just take me outside and dispose of me.
Oh, yeah, that is blasphemy. Please do not consider
It is. No, it is. Who microwaves water for tea? It's called a kettle. You plug it in or put it on the stove.
Wait, does Americans do this?
Yes. Yeah, at my old job, I had a lady, when I said a cup of tea, she literally took the mug, stuck it in the microwave, and pushed a button.
Out of everything that has happened, hey, this has perhaps been the most disheartening news I have ever come across. Why would you mutate Kocha like that? Or even Kocha. I mean, Kocha I can respect. Sorry, Kocha tea, green tea, and black tea.
Just wait until you hear about the iced tea they tried to hand me at a restaurant. I've got to go back.
And you just see foreigners just like that is awesome.
Right. Well, as you all go and debate your opinions on proper tea serving and drinking etiquette, I think that'll be where we take our break for the evening. So we will return in about 15 minutes to continue this episode and see where our cabal ends up. All right. Hello, everyone. We have returned from our break, and our cabal is probably still debating how to make tea, to be honest. But as we rejoin you all, I will leave the story to the four of you. What are the things you'd like to do before you leave the chantry?
My phone's still not working?
No, your phone's fine now.
Oh, thank God. He's making a call as he's shoving items in his bag.
So, who is Elias calling?
John. The person he's been trying to get a hold of for a day and a half.
I think it's 4 in the morning in Scotland.
It's fine.
Roll me a D100. We'll see if he answers the phone.
Oh God. I do not have a D100. I'm just gonna roll 2 D10s. This one. 8.
It rings 4 times, and then a very tired voice. Hello.
Hello, John. Oh crap! It is very late. Early over there. I'm sorry.
Something wrong.
Well, yes and no. Would you object to me possibly coming to Edinburgh for like a couple months to work on number one us, and number two, it's a very long story and you're very tired, and if I start explaining it over the phone, you're gonna fall back asleep on me.
I would need some time to prepare things, but sure.
You have an hour.
Well, I will make sure then I do not teleport from the chantry. I will book of light.
All right. Is there any reason this conversation could not have waited until tomorrow or 10 in the morning?
To be honest, I have been trying to get a hold of you for about a day and a half, and the Chantry blocked my phone.
All right, that is cryptic.
It is a bit cryptic. But okay. Do you remember Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So his fiance has passed from this plane of existence, and some rather evil little bloodsucker got her soul, and so we went to go rescue it. Evidently, the Chantry can't sent a phylactery under their nose, which none of us knew about, and then all of us got in trouble for, including myself. So I am technically.
This is a conversation better had for
In
person.
person? Yes, I thought that would be the answer. So I'll see you in about, I don't know what the flight is this time, at 12, 13 hours, something like that. Go get some sleep.
All right.
Hang up. Continue packing.
Okay. All right. Elias has done what they wish to do. Sure. Have Oliver, Eric, or Jaharu. What about you?
I'm just making sure I have all of my things.
I was gonna say,
And
when I gotta go to pack, like I pull a large like army duffel out of the below my bed, and I literally pack everything. Like I don't leave anything.
Okay.
I make one final stop to clear mind before I go.
Okay. All right. So, Eric, you are able to stuff things into your bag as much as you need. Jaharu, you are able to make your way back to the mountain, and you do find that Clear Mind is waiting for you.
Jiharu, of course, bows very low and says, I won't say in Japanese because, understand, but he essentially says, thank you very much for this prized possession. And for the kind words and for the tutelage that you've given me so far.
Of course. I will be expecting for you to bring me those back one day, so you will need to complete your task. It is not easy to make a pair of dragon pearls.
I will. However, I feel that the Chantry may have lost 3 incredible mages in this. And I do not know how I can repair this relationship. I am not the best in terms of words. I try, but many things don't make sense to me.
All any of us can do is try. There are some paths that can be walked together and some individually. Your friends will need to make their own decision.
Perhaps there is nothing that could be done here. You are likely right. It's such, it would be interesting how our paths will cross going forward. Of course, they are my family as much as the others are my family. So I do hope that one day.
Are you asking someone these wonderful questions that you have?
100%. I'm like walking in with my duffel bag, and I'm like, "So, what's the deal? Just can I just pick a portal? I mean, what's?"
Mhm. The dark skinned man from before is there, and he looks at you all. You certainly sound much more lively now. To answer your question, there is a pathway that will take you to Harlem. If you do not want to go there, you may choose to go some other place. It is, of course, your choice. We have no interest in controlling you too much.
See, it's language like that, right? That gives me trust issues. But great. Yep. Cleveland, please. That'd be great.
There,
If
words
you
you
can
would
keep the
prefer,
control
I'd say.
to a minimum, that'd be fantastic. Thanks.
I believe I am keeping control to a minimum. I wish the four of you luck, regardless of the nature of the problem or the way that you got to it. This is something that needs to be taken care of. I would prefer it if no other individuals die. Well, I wish you all the best of luck. And he does point towards a doorway that you all have taken before. I will take you back to where you seek.
Very
I'll
well.
look over at Chaharu. I'm like, so we blowing the popsicle stand, or
Sorry, Elias may have understood what that meant. I do not. My apologies. What was that?
this is the
referring to?
popsicle stand, and we are leaving it without any
Yes.
popsicles. It's very sad.
We must depart. That was the requirement.
Yeah, well, I'm just taking gauge that this is still all right with you.
I have no choice in this endeavor, and I understand the reason behind this. I will not fight this, but I also understand your mindset. It is not, and so I am willing and wanting to walk forward with this to make sure this is wrapped up. And if you wish to pursue a different path in the chantry, that you are able to do so. You should not be locked up in this if you do not wish to be.
But you should also not be kicked out for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
It is different, very different.
And I care about you too.
Oh.
And if this is where you want to be, then I will help. I will help you do that. It's just not where I want to be.
I understand. There are those here who I do care for. And I feel if I was not awakened, it would be much easier to let loose this tie. I just completely embrace Magarusa. But that does not seem to be the case. And I do not believe I could be able to harness and tailor the awakened side without proper guidance. Like once in St. Clair Mind and others give. And so that's why after this is said and done, I do wish to stay with you all, but also return to the chantry. But also, I wish to make changes here. I feel, as I mentioned before, mages and werewolves are very different in many ways. But that also means there's a lot that they can learn from one another if those concepts are important. So I want to make some changes here for the better. So therefore, something like this doesn't happen again.
There's a noble goal you have there. Impossible, but I wish you the best on that endeavor. Nevertheless, I feel at times I wish I was never awakened. If I could give back these powers now, I would, but if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have been able to save Jessica. So but now that that's complete, I don't want to be awakened anymore. I wish I had my old life back. Maybe that's my new goal. Figure out how I could find some balance.
Return to normalcy?
I'm sure it's possible.
Perhaps. Would I be aware of the what's that thing called that begins with a G? The Giga or something? The one that where mages like lock up.
You can roll intelligence and occult. You can also ask. There's a mage near you that you can ask questions.
I don't want, I'd rather figure this out myself.
Mhm.
Can anyone with a cult roll that, or is that
Sure, anybody could roll it.
What's the
Is it
difficulty?
just a cult? Or?
Intelligence and occult. Difficulty 8.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Just one success for me.
3 successes?
One
Okay.
success.
Wonderful. Sure. So,
Yeah, one
with
success.
3, with 3, with 3 successes, I would say you are aware that there is a way to have a person's avatar be completely shattered. It would take away the ability to do magic as well as do many other things and make it very unpleasant. It may also kind of destroy your soul in the process.
Oh, we don't want that then.
But you're saying there's a chance.
Chiharu pauses and says, well, I'm not sure if there is a possibility. But I know you do not have to remain tied to this chantry. If you remove yourself from these bonds, per se, you should be able to move on with your life in normalcy. No one would contact you or address you as a mage or sense you if you go move on your own.
Sorry, I'm just super distracted of the spider killing.
Yeah.
Look here, it is dying. I want you to know it is going to die before I go to bed tonight.
Do you need a minute? All right, do you need a minute?
No, I am going to carry on this battle while you all are talking.
Please do. This is good stuff. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. Where were we at? Yeah. Soul breaking stuff. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to cut myself off from the world. It's not that's not my goal, but as much as these abilities have helped me in my goal to free Jessica, they've mostly brought me nothing but pain. and heartache. And I feel like I took a double dose of that going down this road.
But now that journey has ended, right? Soon you will have her return, and all will be completed.
Oh, I don't want her returned. I want her free. I want her to return to the circle of life, not be imprisoned by some blood-sucking undead.
Well, that was what I was going to come to see you about before all of this took place. I was able to reach out to my family, and as you could imagine, a blood-sucking leech, as they called it, cannot be allowed to roam free and do what they will. So before all of this took place, that was where I was at. I was actually reaching out to my family to obtain allies to eliminate.
That for a second there, Eric let go of that hatred. And as soon as you mention it, it starts coming back. You're like, you know what? You're right. That motherfucker's still out there. And I need a purpose.
He needs to go.
You don't think your family's still butthurt about the whole burning the building down thing in the compound? I did reverse time to.
They were unaware of that was caused by you.
Oh, good. All right, let's keep it that way. Yeah.
And remember, the whole purpose of discussing with you regarding the removing of the staff was because that staff is an abomination to us. Now that that staff has technically been removed, there should be no other factors in place for us to rally together and eliminate that vampire, because he still plans to eliminate innocents based upon his request to us. And that cannot stand.
I'm not putting aside my need to center myself, collect myself, and give myself some time. But that seems like a much more worthy endeavor than whatever the fuck this Chantry wants us to do.
We should still do both. The endeavor was meant to save Azariah's loved ones. And Azariah was an unfortunate bystander in all of this. The least we could do is make sure that her loved ones are cared for and safe in all of this. I do not digress this mission.
That's fair.
I digress the method that they've used for this mission, aka excommunicating us in process of this. That is where my issue resides in. To be honest, if there was more we could do for Azariah, I wish we could do something good. But this is the best we have for now. But to give you solace, and to give Jessica a pace of rest, and to give the Guru a nice, solid victory. I think we all have a particular goal to be united on.
So Oliver, looking for work?
Always. Any opportunity for
Get on.
research.
Jump in the portal. We're off to murder.
Oh,
Don't ask
fun.
questions.
Who are we murdering?
The one
Enzo.
that needs to be removed.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes. That one.
Mm-hmm. The one that wishes for innocence to particularly die.
That one's definitely a problem.
Indeed. We couldn't get the chance to share this with the Chantry. But even if we did, I'm not sure how much they would be willing to assist in this. If we're wanting to eliminate this. They stated that they could assist us in endeavors, at least for this particular missions. Unless we were to perform Azariah's task first, and then see if they wish to.
Yeah, well, they really didn't help us before we were banned. I doubt they'd help us after. So,
damn it! I would try to stay.
And we did ask for help, and didn't get it. What has the Chantry done for us lately? That's really the question we should be asking ourselves.
WWCD.
um, um, so, Chiharu gives a gentle smile and nods at that and says, I see where you're coming from. So yes, because we have two tasks at hand. Oliver, you have been relatively quiet in all of this. How are you feeling?
I mean, after the way the Chantry acted, just throwing us all under the bus and pretending to want to speak, I don't really have any love loss for just, we can stay, we can go. I don't care. Vampire is no good though. We should probably get rid of him.
I just
Elias?
wish to know. Elias, we know what Elias wishes.
Well, I mean, you're right. Maybe we should just give them a couple of times and some time, and I'm sure they'll get back together. It's on again, off again. We just gotta wait for them to be off again, and then we can recruit Elias back, and he can help us with the Empire issue. Oh, Elias, you're still here.
Standing right here.
Or third time's the charm.
Oh, good lord. Look, I just need like a month or two, some couples counseling. I'm all down for hunting a vampire, but like I'm rubbish at that. I could at most freeze his assets. And that's about it.
That would be beneficial, but at least now we have plenty of time to prepare the best plan to eliminate this individual. No longer is there a time frame needed because we don't have to worry about Jessica being in danger. We have every advantage on our side to remove this individual from the face of the earth. So, was the spider on your chest?
No, it was the string from my dress.
Okay. I was just like, yo, that spider went up there
It's
quick.
just freaking out.
I'm telling you, I am on pins and needles right now.
I'm sorry.
Pins
My headset came out.
in all of the needles.
I was like, yo, that was video game reflexes right there. I was like, someone's been playing too much Baldur's Gate. But I'm sorry. Yeah, Giotto just look and say, I understand Elias' goal and Eric as well. It's more Oliver. I was a bit concerned because I wasn't sure exactly where you wanted to go from here. Especially
Well, I mean, as a wise man once said, I'm loyal to those who are loyal to me. And whoever is the most loyal to me, so too shall I remain loyal.
Understood. Well, I think I know where our next step is from here. So, thank you for sharing this with me. And
All I'm saying is we can do better.
Okay.
Just like any other workplace, right? You work there and then you find out whether it does or doesn't work out, and if it doesn't work out, you move on to somewhere new.
are mages considered a workplace?
A manner of speaking. Just another corporate ladder with the masters at the top.
Word.
That's a very unique way of looking at it. I did not consider that. I kind of viewed them the same as my werewolf, my pack. And so that's why I was a bit confused by the consequences given. I just took it upon the fact that it's just because they were a pack. But when you label them as a workplace, then it starts to make a lot more sense.
It's little ironic. They're very, very operates very similarly to our friends with the liquid robot.
Really?
I mean, they all have different hierarchies. They call it with different things, but it operates all basically the same.
Everybody just likes to claim I'm the good guy. Well,
It's okay. We're not coming back.
I guess all that really matters is who's holding the biggest gun. And is it pointed at you?
Well, hopefully, I'm hoping that I told Eric this, but I'm hoping I can be able to make it. And even through all of this, I still think progress can be made. Not saying that I wish for you all to reside after all this said and done. As stated, I do not wish for you all to be at a place. I do not wish for you all to be at a place that you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or unwanted at. Perhaps you can get the chance to review you all to see how fortunate you all are, and who knows? But anyway, spoke too long. I guess we could make our way to. Well, we're going to different locations. Elias, you're heading to Scotland, correct?
Well, technically, I did tell him I was going to take a plane.
Just jump
you're
in there.
going to-
Surprise!
No, look here.
Couples counseling.
No, it was like 4 a.m. when I called him. And while I don't think his first reaction is violence necessarily, I don't know what a surprise celestial chorister would actually do.
Well, I guess it is safer for us all to teleport to our particular location and then just fly to our destinations to handle things.
Hop to Cleveland. Let's go.
Indeed.
Okay. As you all finish your ponderings, borderline treasonous ponderings, you make your way through the doorway with all of your belongings. You arrive in Cleveland in the same position as last time, close to downtown. Were there any things you all wish to accomplish immediately, or rather before we finish up for the evening?
Not really.
Nope. See how my house is doing.
God was just heading home.
You just roll the D100 to see if the house is still standing.
But you bought it. So I blew it up.
All right.
It's bought it in contract.
Demolition. If there is nothing else, then this is where we will wrap up our Mage the Ascension story today. Thank the four of you for joining me here to tell this unique Mage the Ascension story. There were a lot of fun and memorable moments. I will go ahead and let these wonderful people tell you where you can find them and what they're up to. And we will start with Ari.
Hi, I'm Ari, and if you're watching this scene for the past like 25-30 minutes, I have been terrorized by a tiny little 8-legged creature in my house. But I am found on Twitter, because I refuse to call it by X, at Small Shadow Snack, and I'm over on Blue Sky at Aurelia Crane. Nothing's over there yet. The possums are in my migration process. Expect it soon. But I will be back at some point to play in another game. But I am back to trying to find this ridiculous spider to make sure I've killed him.
All right, next up, Kira.
I liked how Ari was coming out with the chancla like it was a 7-year-old kid that's ready to get. Yeah, I saw that shoe come
Look
out.
here.
It's like, oh,
Look here.
there
These are comfortable, but they're really got a good grip to it.
I can see where you grabbed it. I was like, not sure where you all left off at. But yeah, we have TTRPG channel called the Cookout TTRPGs on YouTube, where we have a wide variety of TTRPG goodness. We have been on hiatus for a bit, but there will be a brand new show coming up within the next 2 or 3 months. We'll have some relatively recognizable individuals in a theme that will probably be very interesting to a large group of individuals. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that as that comes out pretty soon. Also, of course, if you've been following, you know that I started my own brand new comic book company called Snowstorm Comics. We've been working on our first comic book that should hopefully be coming out within the next 3 to 4 months or so. So just be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheKara858. If you're on Blue Sky, I'm also there at TheKara858. If you're on Threads, I'm also there at TheKara858. Basically, I have most of the social medias covered. So if you want to follow me there to keep an eye out for all of the latest and greatest that we're working on, feel free. And that's me.
All right. So everyone's cameras got mixed all the way up. So next up is Simon.
Who am I?
So yeah, I'm Sir Monolith, or at Sir Monolith on Twitter, or at Sir Monolith on Blue Sky as well. Yeah, you can pretty much at the moment just catch me doing stuff on Ree's channel. I haven't really had the time to branch out to too many other places or the inclination, because it's just so many hours in the week, right? So yeah, just keep an eye out here to see what interesting stuff Ree has cooked up next.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Quinn.
Well, hey, y'all. This has been fun. I've had a blast in season 2. My name's Quinn again. You can find me on the Twitters at the Mercenary Storyteller or at QSellers. Yeah, I don't know what our group's doing either, but I feel like we have a good idea of where we're headed. As reluctant as some of us are. But yeah. Till next time.
All right. Well,
Get you next time, Gadget.
Tonight was an interesting experience, and I hope you will join us next time for our next season. Oh, I do have an announcement. Coming up in a couple of weeks will be our next project, a story where we get to explore what it's like to be superheroes. Keep an eye out on our Twitter, or I guess our X now, to find out just the details of that story. But with that, I bring our story to its conclusion, and I thank you for watching us, and I hope you'll join us next time.